What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here to do some technical analysis on the price of gold. We're going to be looking at it in terms of the US dollar, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, welcome back. We are on the daily time frame looking at the price of gold. These last 2 days, we've seen about a 3% drop. However, it is trading within this channel for about just over a month, maybe a month and a half right now. It's been kind of just ping-ponging around within this channel. The bottom of this channel, notice here throughout the history of the chart, back here in February, these were acting as resistance. Now fast forward, it has been acting as a strong support. Once a resistance is broken, it then becomes support. So this black line, we're gonna go ahead and turn it to green, so you think that that as a support. And then the up here, we are gonna go ahead and make that red will represent the resistance. We have been seeing somewhat of a pullback taking place, so the question here remains, what happens if we break through this channel to the downside, or if we break out of this channel to the upside? Well, let's start with the downside. First, I want to preface this by saying I am a gold bull, especially in economic times that we're living through right now, with central banks all around the world printing darn near unlimited amounts of money. This is good for the price of gold and silver, but silver's for another day. So if it does break down through this price, I am not going to be a seller of gold. I will be a buyer looking at it as a sale that is taking place. So where can it drop? Let's just look in the history of the chart to see where price action might head to. I would say this 1650 level could be a very prominent area of support. Now it's also a nice round number, so a lot of eyes could be on that 1650 level. If we go back to the history of the chart, you'll notice it acted as resistance here and then kind of threw out this way, and then it acted as support and then broke through again. Price came all the way back up and acted as resistance, kind of got rejected, and then the price forced itself back up through it. So that 1650 level will be acting as a key level of support. A lot of people's eyes will be on that level if it does break through. Now, can it head lower? It's absolutely possible that it can head lower. How low can it go? Well, instead of, saying all the way down here at the 1450 level, which is always a possibility because the price came down there in the low of March, but I would be saying that the next level would be around 1600, maybe just a tad bit lower. But the reason why I say that is because you can see that it kind of had some trouble getting through it, but when it did get through it here, it did burst up, came back down and pushed itself back up, finally broke through, and when it did pump up through this level, notice how the price tried to come back down but then acted as a support here, then it broke through, then it acted as resistance, and then it finally took off. So that 1600 level, also a nice big round number that a lot of people will keep their eyes on. From after that point, you have the 200-day period moving average at about 1570 right now, which is also lined up on the history chart on this big pullback. And then you have the very far level down, which is at 1450. There are some hedge fund managers that believe that the price of gold would be heading to that level and potentially even lower. However, it's overall, if you scroll to the history of the chart, it's overall in a very bullish trend. Now, the reason why they think that 1450 could be a retested level if all these were broken is because, look at how this level played out throughout history. It acted as resistance all throughout here, and then it acted as support, and then it acted as a support again. So it's a very possible thing that we might see the price go, but it's not going to be in the very short-term future. It would take weeks to get down there if this was broken, because it is going up against a lot of different areas of support. So that's a lot of different areas of support that we drew out, but the main thing that we're going to be keeping our eye on is really the channel that the price of gold has been trading within. So I'll go ahead and make that channel black because that's where we really need to keep our eyes, and then we kind of go to the next levels after that point. Notice how the MACD down here, it has been kind of heading a little bit lower and building some momentum to the downside. That's not giving us all too much information because it still hasn't crossed below 0 on the MACD, and it's not like it's a negative or positive divergence really taking place. If I go back here, it's kind of just flat versus down, which could technically, there can be an argument that it's somewhat of a negative divergence, but just take notice that the MACD has been heading lower and lower, and it's kind of pushing itself down to the zero range. And if it does go down through zero, it is technically saying, hey, this is a bear trend in the MACD at least. So overall, I think that if the channel were to break to the downside, I think this would be the first area that we'd be touching, which is at 1650. Let's go ahead and take a look to see what would happen if it breaks to the upside of this channel. And also keep in mind, I actually been picking up shares on this drop of GLD. I do want to have the physical asset as well, which I do own some physical gold. But the reason I've been buying the GLD is because of the premiums on the spot price, or the premium added to the spot price of gold has been a little bit pricey right now, and that could very well be due to the pandemic that has been taking place. The logistics system and how to ship the gold has been getting a little bit more increasingly difficult to get into consumers' hands. So that could be driving the premium up a little bit. That's just speculation, but I do believe that when the economy is fully reopened, I think the prices of the premium would come down just a tad bit, but we will see what happens when everything is fully back open. So what happens if it breaks out to the upside of this channel? Well, in order to see for that to take place, we're gonna have to go ahead and scroll back to the history of the chart to see what the next level of resistance might be. Okay, so we scrolled back to the history of the chart to 2011. This is where we really hit the highs in the price of gold in terms of US dollars. And this is where I'm seeing that the price would have its next area of resistance would be, it would be 1800 would be the main level that it needs to break through in order to go up from that point. And I think that 1800 would be a key psychological area too. Notice how these big round numbers are taking place. You got 1800, 1750, then the bottom of the channel, or the bottom support here is at 1650. So those are big areas to keep an eye on. If it does break through to this 1800 area of resistance, we can definitely see the price take out the highs, which was at just above 1900 at 1920. So it has a lot of room to go to hit to that point. I think that in due time we will be at that level, but it's in due time. So it could take some time for the fundamentals of gold and everything that's going on in the economy to really settle in to the economy and take place in different assets such as these commodities. So there you have it. We're back over here to the more recent part of the chart. There's the channel, this black, upper part of the channel, and then the lower part, and then you have our first areas of support and first areas of resistance. If the channel were to break out, those are our new testing grounds. Our first one would be 1650 as far as support goes, and then the next area of resistance would be that 1800. That's all I really have for you so far on the technical analysis side of gold. Just to recap, I am bullish gold in the long term. So when it does drop, or if it does drop and have pullbacks, I'm going to look at those as buying opportunities. If it does break out, I probably will maybe sell some of my shares to move them into underpriced assets such as silver, depending on where the price of silver is and how it reacts to this gold. Or I might just be holding it for the length of time till further notice. That's all I have for you on the technical analysis side of gold. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Hasta la vista.